It has been about 9 months since the game has given us new formations in Rise of Kingdoms. Now, one of the things they have done and said they're going to do is release a new skill damage formation to either upgrade or change or give us a different variation of what we currently have with Wedge and skill damage. Well, this is the video that we're going to talk about it because we're going to speculate because that's happening very quickly, like within the next few weeks. So let's talk about it. Let's figure it out, and let's go through as we speculate. We love to do that. The new formation and what it's going to do in Rise of Kingdoms.
You can feel that burn and you already know we're locked in deep. This is Chadsky mode. This is Chadsky mode.
Hey everybody, it's your boy War Daddy Chadsky, and I do videos all the time for Rise of Kingdoms. I am a sponsored creator for Rise of Kingdoms. Love playing the game, love doing everything with the game. You guys know me, I'm obsessed with it. And I love doing these types of videos. Speculation videos are kind of, they're a little bit kind of eye roll sometimes. But we have been really good at being able to predict some of the things that they're going to bring us in the game, whether it's new commanders, whether it's new equipment, whether it's new skills, whether it's new things that we've asked for. And the new formation getting ready to come out in the game. They've confirmed it that it's coming out in March, and we are just waiting on an official release of that formation or official tease of that formation. But originally it was supposed to come, back at the end of the year? Then they pushed it back and said January. Then they pushed it back and said March. Well, here's my prediction and what's going to happen. We have the Rise of Kingdoms meetup event in Los Angeles in the United States on March 14th, I believe it is, somewhere around there, that weekend. And typically what they do in those types of meetups is they go through and they'll release new commanders. They'll release new formations, new mechanics in the game. There's something that they always save for the meetups. The same thing happened in Amsterdam. Same thing happened in Germany. Same thing happened in a lot of the different meetups that they've done where they announce some things. They're letting the people that come to those meetups get kind of some inside track and some information. So I feel we are going to get this new formation during that meetup in Los Angeles, the weekend of March 14th. Okay, so from there, we're trying to figure out exactly what that is with this formation, okay? There's all kinds of speculation. So many people have kept on to their wedge stuff for cavalry and for infantry because they don't want to spend the money to go convert that formation to something more relevant, like this would be converted to Delta to run maybe 2 Delta marches for your cavalry. People have been holding on to stuff like this, and they're still running Huo, and they're still running Ragnar, and honestly, they're getting pummeled with it. Now, he can get away with it in some of these different kingdoms and some of the different KVK competitive levels, but it is definitely inferior. And when you have power creep going on with these commanders, okay, and you have different things going on with their skills and what they do, and you're putting out commanders that are super powerful, okay, you're going to start falling behind with some of the old commanders. We know this, right? There's a power creep. And that's why they try to do the museum buffs to try to help out old commanders. Well, that's just a misnomer. Museum buffs don't really help out much of anything. But the question I commonly get is, okay, Chadsky, if we're going to get a new skill damage formation, maybe it makes Huo, maybe it makes Ragnar, maybe it makes these skill damage commanders for cavalry and infantry relevant again. And I kept thinking to myself, okay, well, that's not a bad take. You know, that's a pretty reasonable prediction, right? Or question. But here's the thing, and here's what's hard about this. When it comes to the wedge formation as it sits now, okay, they're kind of locked into this thing. This is one of the first formations that they had, and they were kind of locked in. And this is back in the day when formations came out to where that's all you had was skill damage. There was no smite. There was no. I think we had Luce and Gorgo, but all the other commanders did skill damage. All the other infantry, cavalry, everything. All right. Well, you look at some of the special inscriptions of Wedge, okay? This is a single target situation going on here where the biggest benefit comes from single target. You come into unstoppable, Okay, there's a 30% chance that damage will be increased by 10%. That's to a target. That's a single target situation. All right, you come over here to balance, you reach 80% rage, you're going to deal 8% more skill damage for the next 3 seconds. Okay, that's all encompassing. That's AoE, that's everything. Okay, and then you obviously come over here to Intrepid, one of the best inscriptions in the game, especially for your chin. That's really, really good. But when you look at this overall, I don't know what they can do to make Huo great again, right? Like, how do you make Huo great again? How do you make him relevant again? You would have to come up with a new skill damage formation that would be just off the charts, or something with single target, or something just crazy. Well, here's the thing, and this is why the game and the developers have kind of pigeonholed themselves. They're really kind of stuck, because what they have proven is that even with the wedge formation, you can create a commander like Chen, and he is absolutely meta. So from that situation, you want to get yourself trying to think about what they're doing, because here's the problem they're running into now. Chen is so overpowered that if you make a skill damage formation for Huo, and you make a skill damage formation that's going to make Ragnar relevant again, then it's going to make Chen a superhuman. Like, what are we doing? Like, it's you can't have it both ways. You can't sit there and say, okay, we're going to come up with a new skill damage formation. It's going to be so much better. It's going to make Huo and Ragnar relevant again. You know, people are going to be crying in their beers because they already moved over to Pincer for infantry and moved over to Delta for cavalry, and now the new formation's incredible. Well, if it's incredible for these guys, then it's going to make this dude like Thanos level. Okay, and so from there, I think what they're projecting to us and what they're telling us is that even with the wedge formation right now, they can create commanders like Chen that will still be relevant and meta in the end game against Pincer, okay? Against new commanders with Delta. They're literally telling us, like, hey, we can create you a skill damage commander that can use wedge and still wreck and be like the most powerful commander in the game. So we have that situation going on, okay? The other side of this is if they don't stick to a formation that's really going to enhance skill damage, they could do a formation, okay? Here's my other prediction of this, the second thing. They could do a formation that has different attributes. Yeah, it's got some skill damage boost, that kind of thing, but maybe really focuses on rage. Maybe really focuses on some of these components like balance. Like if you look up here, you have a 3.5% normal damage resistance. Okay, well, let's say that's a 3.5%, combo damage resistance, or like a 2% all damage resistance, which would be pretty good. But then down here it says, whenever this commander does more than 1,000 damage factor, it gains 150 rage every second for the next 2 seconds, or just something crazy like that, where there's a rage component to it. Now, there's a rage component to this, but it translates into more skill damage. I'm saying it's a rage component in the sense that it's going to give you more rage. There's a different component. Like you can have kind of a hybrid. Like it's going to enhance skill damage, but more importantly, there's mechanics within the special inscriptions that give you rage. And then you come over here and it doesn't say 5% more skill damage. It says 5% more skill damage, 5% or 10% more rage gain or something. You get a different component to this. So we have that's the second example. So you have two different examples right now. You either have, hey, we're going to get a skill damage formation that's going to be an upgrade to the wedge, and it's just going to be crazy good. Or the second thing is, okay, we get a skill damage formation that deals with more rage, or that deals with another factor of combat to go along with skill damage. Or the third thing I want to speculate on, because I think it's going to be one of these three things. The third thing I will speculate on is that they're giving us a formation. Okay, follow me here. They're giving us a formation that is tied to rallies and garrisons. That's what they're looking to do. That they're giving us a formation that's skill damage, all right, that is tied to our rallies and garrisons. And basically what that means is that I feel like there's a possibility, all right, that they could get in here and they could give us a skill damage formation, but all of a sudden some of the components are going to be wrapped up into leading a rallied army or garrison. Okay, so it's something like this, but you look at Hunter and it's like you gain a 3.5% boost to skill damage dealt. Whenever you are in a rally or garrison, your skill damage is increased by 10%, single target, 5% AoE, or something just crazy like that. Okay, there's all kinds of different ways to look at that, but I think that that's one of the components. If you're in a garrison, you have some kind of big skill damage that's going to happen, okay? And that's one of the ways they could do it. Now, you're not selling that to the masses, okay? Now, this is what people have to understand when it comes to the game and the economics of the game, all right? They want us interested in more formations. When they came out with Pincer, like everybody eventually had to go do this thing, right? Everybody. Because everybody fields and everybody fights with infantry, right? When they came out with Delta, like eventually everybody had to go buy this thing, if you will, if you think about the economics of the game. When it comes to skill damage, and if they go the route of the third option I gave you guys, that this is going to be a component of rally and garrison, all of a sudden you're not selling that to the masses because not everybody's a rally or garrison, okay? So what might happen in that sense is they might give us 3 new formations. They might give us a wedge, or an upgrade to the wedge. They might give us an upgrade to the pincer. They might give us an upgrade to the delta, but they're not really upgrades at all. They are just rally garrison formations for combo, smite, and skill damage. Okay, and if they do that, that broadens who they're going to sell this to, but they're still not selling to the masses, okay? The majority of players in this game do not run rallies and garrisons. But this is the other side you got to think about. The players that do run rallies and garrisons are generally higher spenders. And if they're higher spenders, then they're not going to have a problem converting their awesome pincer set over to the new rally garrison pincer set. Now, the problem with that is that all of a sudden now they've got to make a formation or convert armaments to a new formation that they really can't use in the field. And so there's no telling, guys. There's no telling. I don't know which direction they go with here, okay? Because when you look at this overall, you're trying to figure out exactly what the game's trying to do, and that's what we do. We speculate, we try to predict, we try to go through those things. It is our job as content creators to give you our thoughts and opinions, because a lot of the times, most of the time, you're able to actually plan out how you're going to run your account. You're going to plan out, you're going to take caution, you're not going to invest in this, you're not going to do that, you're going to do this, you're going to do that, you're prepping for this. That's what we do, is we give you our opinions on it. Okay, and I love doing that. I love giving opinions and speculating, but that's what everybody understands, that it's just purely speculation. But you can be really good in speculation, and you can be really good in predicting. And so from that standpoint, how do we get this? Are we going to get an upgrade from the current wedge setup and just stick to skill damage, make it better, try to make Huo and Ragnar more relevant? The problem there, you're going to make Chen Infinity Gauntlet Thanos. Do they go a direction to where they're going to do a different component? They're going to attach rage to it, so the buffs for skill damage aren't necessarily crazy off the charts, but also generates more rage. They could do that, or some other facet or some other component that they want to add to that. Or do they stick to a rally garrison setup to where the next formations are going to be specific to rally and garrison? I don't know, guys. I don't know. But they are giving us like these weird formations, okay? Double line formation? Like, huh? Like this is just purely a barbarian formation? Nobody is spending special inscriptions on a barbarian formation. Unless they had barbarians that you had to go raid and they were so powerful that even the Imperiums have a tough time bringing down, but then they'd have to have a whole reward system for that. There'd be all kinds of stuff, okay? So from there, obviously, we've got Tercio, which is the city defense one, and they've released Pincer. That's the latest one. But that was what, 8 months ago? 7, 8, 9 months ago? It was a while ago. So we're due. We are literally due for a new formation that's going to be relevant in your PvP setups, in your KVKs. And so from there, first prediction, I think that they're going to release that formation at the Los Angeles meetup in March. The second thing, I think it's going to be one of those three components. It's going to be an upgrade from the wedge. It's going to be another type of skill damage formation that adds another component to it. Or the last thing it's going to be is a Rally Garrison specific situation, but we will see. I want your comments down in the description. Please give me those comments. Also, if you're not subscribed, consider doing so. Hit that thumbs up, give it a like. The videos really enjoy getting those likes, really help with the feedback. I love the comments. I will get down in there with you. We'll have conversations. We'll talk about it. Like I said, you can join my Discord and you can subscribe. Doesn't cost you anything. Hit that bell if you want to get any kind of alerts and wanted to put out this video, start up this conversation because it's coming. It's coming in a few weeks. So let's figure out how this thing's going to work and speculate. And with that all being said, we hope you have a great day, broskies.